Voting early. Let's talk about why I am recommending this specific election we vote early. I have 5 reasons why you're going to want to listen to this whole thing and then share it because getting out the early vote this election is extremely important and there's strategy involved. I'm going to lay it out really clearly. So here's reason one. It guarantees your vote. Early votes are 100% banked. If you put it off and say that you are going to vote, that's a possibility. We don't know with this election what's going to happen. Everything from tech issues to traffic to an unforeseen crisis, personal or national. There could be reasons why on election day, it's actually hard to get in that promised vote. So if you vote early, it guarantees that your vote is banked. Now, with that, it would be imperative that you get a receipt and a tracker of your vote so you can make sure that that vote has been counted. Number two, voting early gives you time to focus on other things. Especially when it comes to this election, it gives you time to focus on those friends and family members that you have in your life that you want to make sure they vote. So if you vote early, you can focus all your time on making sure that your spheres of influence are also voting. The informed voters, you want to get them to the poll as well. It also gives you time to volunteer to ensure a safe and secure election. So if you've voted and you've got your vote in and you're not even thinking about that anymore, it leaves room for you to focus on other things to benefit this election cycle. Number three, voting early benefits the whole election process because it actually lessens the administrative burden that's needed on election day. So if you vote early and your vote is counted, then it frees up that time for election day to focus on those same day voters. So in reality, this should actually lead to quicker election results on election day versus 10 to 13 days out because the election burden is so heavy on election day. So if you vote early, it's going to lessen the load. It also will help with those long lines that we see for those voters who actually have to vote on election day. Number four, and this one might be my personal favorite. If you vote early, it helps out your campaign, your choice candidate's campaign, to focus their resources and time on those other voters who haven't yet gotten their vote in. So campaigns have access to a whole lot of information. They won't know who you voted for, but they'll be able to tell in real time if you have voted. So if they see that you voted, guess what? You don't get all those annoying emails and texts and phone calls hammering you to get to the poll because they will see that you already voted. So they will move on to those voters that they're still chasing down, which is actually important because as we get closer and closer to the election, those voters who haven't yet materialized, they need to be focused on by the campaign. So voting early allows your choice candidate's campaign to go after, to funnel their resources and their time and energy toward those voters who still haven't voted yet. Number five, voting early contributes to an overall voter enthusiasm. So as we're seeing in real time, Republicans have flipped the script this election. We're seeing a much larger turnout of Republican voters as compared to historically years past. So that early voting is leading to a swell of enthusiasm and motivation. It's like when your team is winning and you get up and stand on your feet because we're winning, we're doing something, this is exciting. Voting early contributes to public support and it shows that people are voting. And this is super helpful to the shy voter. We have so many voters who this is their first time voting an election, or it's their first time voting for a conservative candidate because they've always historically voted Democrat in the past. So seeing early voting happen and seeing that we're having a grand swell of enthusiasm, this ultimately creates momentum and it encourages other voters. They call them shy voters, those who are a little hesitant to be public. It encourages them to go ahead and vote. This strategy creates momentum and it builds confidence and it helps other voters who may be a little more shy to actually step in and vote. Now let's talk about future voting. All of these strategies are specific for this 2024 election. Donald Trump has promised that if and when he is back in office, he will make sure that we go back to paper ballots, to single day voting, to make sure that elections are very safe and secure, complete with voter ID. But for the meantime, this election, we must use every legal strategy available right now to beat the machine and win. And early voting is a great strategy that we can use now. How do you find out where you can vote early? You can go to swampthevoteusa.com. That's swampthevoteusa.com. This website is loaded with tons of resources to help you find your specific locations that are near you that will allow you to vote early. And a lot of other resources are available on that website, including pledges and just a lot of encouragement for you to use strategy to do your part to fix the damage, to vote against the administration who has brought us so much ruin for the last 3.5 years. This is your way to do your best strategical offensive move against Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Go to swampthevoteusa.com, find where you can vote early, and go vote. And then use the rest of your time to get other informed voters to the poll. This election, it's so important to vote early, to pray, and to use the rest of our time to get other informed voters to the poll too. So go to swampthevoteusa.com and vote early.